Yes, people, what's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel, people. Welcome back to Blue Diaries, man. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't been the best week for Chelsea. Lost against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. Gave that trophy away. We thought we'd see a massive response at the weekend at Old Trafford. We spoke about the fact that, it's been 11 years since we last won there. And unfortunately, as the title says, Chelsea once again failed to rise at Old Trafford, man. You know what I mean? Charlie was there at the game. Thank God I didn't end up getting a ticket because I actually really wanted to go to Old Trafford because I thought this would be the year that we finally go there and win. You know what I'm saying? But what are you saying though, Couch, man? How's it going, bro? You good?
Yeah, man. Just all over the place, man. I almost missed the game. I was watching at the airport, but yeah, man, it's just another one of them days, man. You try and figure out a thing, try and work another way of playing, and it just doesn't work out in the end. But ultimately, I'm not too upset. I'm just kind of like, another day where we could have used a little bit more experience on the pitch.
100, bro. 100. Yeah, we'll definitely get into it, man. AJ, what you saying, bro? You good?
Yes, sir. Big up. Rough week. Started off kind of good with that Newcastle win. But then we played them again, lost in the cup. We rested the players. Was it the right decision? Because we ended up dropping points at United anyway. So rough week, but we'll talk about it.
Exactly, man. And Charlie, what you saying, man? How you been? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm good. Disappointing week. Racked up a few miles, Newcastle, Manchester, and that in a few days. But yeah, we crack on another 2 games this week. Important to finish strong before the international break. But yeah, mate, I'm good. Just disappointed with what we've seen this week, but can't complain too much because we are in a good position still.
Yeah, 100%. We're still in the top 4, but it honestly felt like we lost the other day because United, I'm so sorry, people. I know we weren't great, but they were there for the taking.
No, they were terrible.
Shit. Yeah, that should have been an easy game for us, right? That should have been an easy game. And people, Jimmy was here a second ago, but he's having problems with his connection, so he's trying to sort that out at the minute. But yeah, let me just go through obviously my take on the game, people, because I was really disappointed, man. I said before the game we need at least 8 out of 10 performances from every single person. I know United aren't great, but end of the day, you still need to go there and do your job, right? Old Trafford right now, everyone's going there and collecting points. I know Ten Hag's gone, but there hasn't been much of a difference in comparison to Ten Hag and Rude at the minute. You know what I'm saying? Right now, they're just playing with vibes and they're kind of just waiting for the new manager to come. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So going into the game, I thought Palmer would turn up. I thought Jackson would turn up. Me and Couch have been going back and forth in the group chat about the likes of Palmer because personally, he doesn't think he was poor. But for my expectations of what I expect for Cole Palmer, I put him on a mad pedestal. And for me, he was poor. The decision-making from some of the players in the final third was terrible. I'm seeing Gusto constantly breaking down our attacks. I'm seeing Palmer, being quite selfish instead of just laying it off to Neto. I'm seeing Cucurella coming on in the second half. Simple pass to Neto, he decides to shoot, So there's so many little bits there where I'm looking at the game and thinking, bro, you guys aren't serious. You know what I mean? We should be at least 2 goals up because we're finding ourselves in positions to create that final action, to create a good chance, and we keep breaking down our attack. That was the major problem with the game. We kept breaking down our own attacks, and the passing from Lavia, the passing from CAICEDO in bits, the passing from Fofana, Colwill, it wasn't as crisp as what we've been seeing with Maresca. It was quite sloppy in parts, and we just kept giving the ball. It was a bit of ping pong at times with United. They're giving us the ball, we keep giving it away, and it was like a sucker punch is gonna come. And it's crazy because I literally tweeted that we are literally waiting for a sucker punch. Any moment waiting for a sucker punch because the intensity in the game is just so low. That was my major problem, Charlie. Like the intensity of the game, it just felt like we was playing at 2 miles per hour. Before you know it, Casemiro, amazing ball over the top. Fofana, you should do better. Like you should time your jump a lot better than that, right? But even though he did that, Sanchez still had a lot of making up to do there. He probably had an opportunity to just see off Højlund in the corner, make yourself big, see him out, Fofana can recover, and then you get back into your position as a goalie. But we know he's a bozo, yeah? We know his brain is upside down, so he doesn't think like your average Joe. He doesn't think like us, yeah? He just thought, let me just go dive in. I know I'm not going to get the ball, but let me just dive in and see what happens. Well, you saw what fucking happened. You gave away another goal. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem that we've got this season. Sanchez has been, yes, he saved us in games, like I keep saying, with his shot stopping, but he's also cost us at the same time. You know, because you just don't know what he's gonna do any second. You know it's gonna cost you doing something. You know what I'm trying to say? So for me, overall, like I said, I was not happy with the performance, bro, because we just did not turn up. Maresca, I thought, you know, the management of the game wasn't good. The subs weren't great. We'll go through that, like I said. The subs weren't great. The setup, having Gusto in that half space for me is not it. You know, that's where I want Palmer picking up the ball to create for us. Like I said, Gusto was getting in very good positions to create, and him and Madueke, that they just didn't have that cohesion. And for me, it affected Madueke's game. You know what I mean? But overall, I can't lie, fair result, man, because United had the better chances, in all honesty. I know some of their chances weren't really clear cut, but they were actually getting in better positions and creating something at the end of it, whereas we struggled to do that. I can only think of Enzo's opportunity that he missed, and when we hit the post. Other than that, fuck all, mate. You know what I mean? Just one big chance, really, that we had. They had 4. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Couch, what did you think of the game, man?
Yeah, I don't think that your analysis is any different from mine, really. Thought we had a languid, tepid game, like where we were just really slow. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that we expected, or at least I expected, United to come out and press us. You know, like there was times where you see Cole on the ball, just has his foot on top of the ball, waiting for them to come and, engage in the press in the first phase. And they just were very disciplined in their shape. And because of that, it made it very hard for us to play through them. It made it very difficult for us to find, the direct balls into our attackers and whatnot. So as a result, of course, Cole Palmer's dropping deeper now to try and get on the ball, influence the game, pulling him out of position. It's not allowing him to have any connection to even somebody like Madueke or even somebody like Jackson, what we normally see. And, we're struggling with the buildup, right? I agree that, there are situations where you kind of want to see more in the buildup from the likes of, Lavia and CAICEDO. You want to see them do more on the ball rather than just be like defensive stoppers in there. You want to see them be more, forward thinking and progressive. They weren't really that game. And I think ultimately what the problem was is just that we were expecting them to press. They didn't press. And as a result, they were holding their shape really, really well. We found it hard to play through the lines. And for me, if you're in a position like that and you're looking for the extra man, and that extra man in the half space is Augusto, I can't tell you how long I've been telling you that you can't have a guy like that in the half space there. You have to have somebody that operates in the number 10 position, that is a number 10, that thinks the game like a number 10. You know what I mean? Like he should be used as a decoy in that respect, not the guy that's supposed to be the guy that's getting on the ball in the space and making those decisions. And unfortunately, what I do?
Is my connection bad again? I thought it was bad again.
I need to get onto my graphics guy, bro.
Okay, so
the template mash up there. But I just wanted to show the graphic, Couch, because you're spitting facts, bro. Like this was the shape. This was our shape on the ball. You can see the back three here. You got Colwell, Fofana, Reece. I'll let you keep going, bro. Yeah, but then you had Palmer.
This is perfectly illustrates there's no space in the middle, right? There's nothing in the middle. We're looking to go out wide because that's where the space is. And I think I said in our chat that the problem I had was that when obviously the space is out wide, and then our 1v1 dribblers, Madueke had a very, very poor game. Very, very poor game. And on the other side, Neto did all right. I thought it was okay, but he just wasn't as influential in the final third. I thought they had nice combinations here and there once and twice, but overall, the conduit for our attack is basically playing a defensive midfield position right now, as you can see with where Cole Palmer's coming in to create those overloads and whatnot. So, yeah, overall, I just don't think that we had the right setup. I don't like Gusto in those areas. I think that there are ways that we'll probably get into it as we get further into this review, where I think that we could address this one particular issue. But yeah, just as to summarize, I'm just saying, if we want to be an attacking outfit, a team that's like dynamic in the final third, you can't have a guy operating in the number 10 position that doesn't think the game like a number 10. It's just that simple for me.
Facts. You know what I'm saying? And that's a perfect way to sort of show you another example of where he was sort of breaking down the attack, because like I said, was getting in good positions, right? And for example, you can see here, Couch, he picks up the ball in the half pocket, in the half space there, Charlie. So you can see Gusto's got the ball here, right? Simple pass to Madueke. Yeah, simple pass to Madueke over here. The ball ends up with Mazarawi, bro. Yeah, and this is a professional footballer.
Right? He literally passed it right to Mazarawi. Like Now I remember this play right here. I lost my mind right here.
So did I. Like either side of him, and he's in. Like even if you play it in the half space in between him and Lissandro there, like he's in. You know, like because he can just cut it and beat him in pace, right? That's the worst ball you could possibly do in that you can play in that position there, with options all over the place there, anywhere but there, and we're in a better position.
100%. You know what I mean? Charlie, what did you think of you know the decision to play Gusto in that half space, bro? And what did you think of his performance as well, man?
I'm not surprised that he went with it. I think it was obvious when he didn't make the trip to Newcastle at all in the week that he was clearly gonna play in this game, and we knew what we were going to see. We were going to see the same as what we saw against Newcastle in the league the previous weekend. Gusto's a good footballer. I like him. He understands the role tactically, but he doesn't have the quality on the ball to execute what's required when he picks them positions up. So this is not an issue of him not understanding the role. It's an issue of him not having the quality in the final third to make the required impacts that's needed. Now, if you're going to put a fullback there, and you look at our pool of fullbacks, the most obvious one to put there is Reece James, because he has the most attacking quality on the ball. I'm not saying he thinks like a number 10, but he's got the most attacking quality on the ball. Yet in all the games that we've tried this, we haven't seen Reece pick up that position once. Now, Gusto rightly came off at half-time. It wasn't working. He didn't have a good game. Cucurella comes on, great. But Cucurella and Gusto's quality in the number 10 role is probably not that different. So really, you've just done a like-for-like swap. And you're not getting an improvement in the quality that you need in the area. Like Gusto wasn't really struggling defensively. It was when he was picking up these positions, like demonstrated on screen. You know, if that's a Reece James in that position, that pass is more than likely getting to Madueke, and we're in behind, and you don't really know what's going to happen. So, for me, I think if you're gonna continue to do this, you either need to make sure that it's Reece James there, or you go away and you work at it on the training ground, and until Gusto or Cucurella, whoever it is, has improved enough on the ball to run it again, then we need to forget about it until those guys have improved their quality on the ball, or you play Reece James there. It's as simple as that for me, because we're getting in really good positions, and then you're getting fullbacks in those number 10 positions, dangerous areas on the edge of the box, you know, maybe to create a tackle or have a shot at goal. And the reality is that these guys don't have the quality. And they're not really supposed to have the quality to do that either. You know, you're asking a lot for a fullback to influence the game in a number 10 position. Mate, you're muted.
100%, bro. And that's what really irritated me, man, because I can think of the Forest game. I can think of many games this year where Palmer's taken up this space here, and he constantly gets on the ball, gets on a half turn, and is constantly just playing it to Madueke, right? Him and Madueke have a good relationship because they've played together for years, right? And you've taken that away. You've taken Palmer further away from Madueke, yeah? And a lot of the time, the ball kept falling in this area. A lot of the time, I'm seeing Gusto getting the ball a lot in many games in this area, and he just skies it over the bar, AJ. Do you know what I'm saying? Left foot, right foot, it doesn't matter what foot he uses, it's over the bar, right?
But this is a new thing, isn't it? This is not like, because we did, I might have missed it, but we definitely didn't start the season doing this. This is a new thing.
This is very new.
The last 2-3 games, isn't it?
It's very new, and I think it has everything to do with Reece James, because before Gusto was inverting into the midfield. Yeah. He wasn't looking to get into those number 10 positions, right? And we had Enzo playing as a number 10 along with Cole Palmer, right? And everyone complained about that because he's not in his best position. Now we have Lavia and CAICEDO playing the sixes. You need that extra man in the attacking third. That becomes Gusto by default, and just not good enough there, man. Sorry.
Why can't it be James, though? There must be a reason for it.
I think we can get into it. I think that Reece James, it's just really about those like high-intensity sprints, right?
I think it's a fitness thing, like injury.
It has to be. It has to be, because he's the most ideal in that position.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, anyone will tell you, I would rather see Reece James there, play Gusto in the back three, Colwell in the middle, and then Fofana on the right of the back three. And there's one of two things that you can do there. You could either give Reece James that half space position, or you invert him into the midfield, like we were doing at the very beginning of the year under Maresca, and then push CAICEDO up further. I would rather see somebody else like that there than Gusto at this point in time.
CAICEDO is actually a lot more creative than people give him credit for. I mean, I was surprised about his quality on the ball, sort of in the attacking third. You know, we've seen him pick up a couple of decent assists for Jackson earlier this season. It's not an ideal scenario, but he does actually have some quality on the ball in the final third. I don't think people realise he has got a little bit of that in his game as well.
Mm-hmm. No,
Yeah, 100%.
I agree.
And you said something key earlier, AJ. Obviously Charlie sort of mentioned about Cucurella and Gusto not being it in that position. And for me, I slightly disagree, because I keep saying that Cucurella for me is our best inverter. And when I've seen him further up in that position, I think he played that role. I know it's Conference League, but he played that role quite well. I remember against West Ham and Bournemouth as well, when him and Sancho are linking up quite well. I think his weight of pass is better than Gusto's. I think his final ball is better than Gusto's. I think his decision making is better than Gusto's, in my opinion. You know, would you want to see that? You know, if we're going to invert anyone into that position there further up, do you want to see Cucurella doing it like what he did in the second half, bro? Do you think he's good enough to do that job instead of Gusto?
I agree. I do think that Cucurella on the ball, just passing the ball, his mechanics of passing the ball, his, awareness of space, his, decision making, like you said, it is better than Malo Gusto. I think everybody can admit that. He's probably just a more complete player in general. So I do think with that fact, it should be better, and I do think we have many examples of it being better. So I don't know why. I don't know why Maresca changed it and has had Gusto playing that, inverted role, but in the space, and we did have some success with it at Newcastle, but it wasn't great, but it worked out,
I think it's one of them, sorry, mate, where I think as a result of not playing Enzo Fernandez, by playing Lavia and Caicedo, you are sacrificing a bit of creativity within the team for a better balance, and I think he's looking for that creativity, because no coincidence this Gusto thing has coincided with Enzo being replaced by Lavia in the team. So you're trying to replace the creativity that Enzo will give you on the ball, and you're trying to replace that with a Malo Gusto, which is not quite the same.
100%. And Robert says it here. Says this is the consequence of not having Enzo in the team. But this is the issue, though. You can't win, people, because we were just speaking about Enzo being a problem in the midfield. Let's bring Lavia and Caicedo in there. We need a little bit more physicality. We need someone that's able to cover the grounds. And now it's, we've taken Enzo out, which means the creativity has gone down. For me, taking Enzo out of that midfield has been the right decision. But it's just the personnel that are going into positions that are quite critical in the team that is wrong at the minute. That's where I've got to look at Maresca and look at him to sort it out, right? And I'm praying the fact that he's taken Gusto out, he took Gusto off, at halftime, because we've all spoken about Maresca being quite proactive. Something's not working, he'll just change it, right? And that's what he did at halftime. So I'm just hoping that's an indication of what's to come, and that he's going to stop that experiment, especially against these bigger teams where you're not going to get in dangerous areas a lot. You know what I mean? We got into a lot of dangerous areas because United are shit. Against Liverpool, we weren't getting into this many dangerous areas, bro. I'll be real. They were shutting off shop, and they were. You talk about United being quite good off the ball, Couch. I thought we bypassed their midfield quite a lot, in my opinion. I thought Casemiro and Ugarte, when they were winning the ball back quite a bit, was from us just being sloppy. Like Lavia on the ball wasn't really great the other day, and that's because I rate him highly. We spoke about it in the group chat about definition of poor. I thought Lavia was quite poor on the ball, in my opinion. I don't think he was that great. You know what I'm saying?
So, very clunky.
But I'll say this. I'm just talking about, when you're talking about their overall shape, I thought they held their shape quite well, to be honest. Like their mid block was giving us problems. Like you illustrated it already with where Cole Palmer was positioning himself to get on the ball. Like it was giving us problems, and a lot of that for me was just down to the fact that we were expecting them to press. We were looking to play through them 100%. If they would have opened up any way, shape, or form, we would have cut through them like a hot knife through butter. And that was what you saw at times. Like when we caught them in transition, we were able to find spaces to exploit. But every time they're in their base mid block, we found it very hard to break them down. It was a tepid game. We were very much, languid in our build-up phase, right? So yeah, when I know Maresca doesn't want to see this, but I think we're better when the game is a little bit more destabilized. Like when it's a little bit more up and down, when it's a little bit more free flowing, because it allows us to get into spaces a little bit easier, rather than when we play a little bit more compact and we're trying to initiate the, kind of like play around and look for openings from there. Like, I don't know if we're very good at like carving through teams that way. Usually when we are at our best, when we're scoring goals and whatnot, it's because we're very direct and hitting teams on the counter, and it's just not. It's not there right now. It's not there right now.
I also think that, you know, we have a lot of players right now that are kind of deferring to Cole Palmer, and I think that's a problem. You know, anytime Cole shows up in the area, we just want to give him the ball. You know, and I understand why. You know, he's been our most effective player for the best part of 2 seasons now, right? And it's easy for a player now to just get in that rhythm of, oh, Cole's there, let me get him the ball, and then let him do something. And I do think Lavia and Caicedo are products of that problem. You understand? They need to be telling Cole Palmer, don't come in this space. Stay up, stay high. Let us find you the ball in the places where you can impact the game. So, you know, it is also a player decision. Like for Cole to drop deep and find the ball, that's his decision to do that. And he might feel like he needs to do that because he might think there's lack of space. You know, so he's like, let me come get the ball here. But he has to also realize the impact that has on the team. That's his responsibility to understand that, you know, and that's also Maresca's responsibility to tell Cole, listen, you need to relax a little bit. You know, you might not get the ball as many times this game, but when you get the ball, be impactful in the areas. So it's still a work in progress to me.
100%.
Bro, this was poor. Like you were shooting.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Held on
just
to
on that
too
point.
long.
Sorry, Charlie. Yeah. Go on, bro.
No, I was going to say that. I remember this exactly from down the other end. It's so unlike Palmer not to shoot and to hang on to the ball for too long or make the wrong decision when in a dangerous area like this. You know, normally he always makes the right decision. He normally ends up in the back of the net or he plays the right pass and you know we've got a good opportunity on goal. This situation here just kind of summed up his afternoon where in an area where you trust him to do the right thing, he just held on to the ball for too long and did nothing.
He shot into the lit, straight into the lit, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I was talking about. He found himself in some dangerous situations, yeah? Palmer usually would just play it. The weight of pass would be perfect to Jackson, yeah? For Jackson to just bend it in one time, not even have to take a touch.
You wouldn't right? even back him to reverse it to Madueke in space there. He's got that quality in his blocker and he's got that vision.
You know what I'm saying? Over there, or even like a little tidy one over the top there to Neto, for example. He's got the quality to do it, right? Him shooting like this was the worst decision. It was the worst decision. And that's not something that, you know, I've been saying with Palmer this season. Because we, like you said, Charlie, yeah, we put him on a pedestal. And one of his main strengths is his decision-making for his age. That's why I don't look at his age, because he plays beyond his years. And for me, he was a little bit too selfish in this game, bro. Yes, I want Palmer to be scoring goals. Yes, I want Palmer to be, you know, getting all these numbers and that. But end of the day, bro, if you've got to, you know, play it there to Jackson and Jackson get the assist for Neto, you know, you play it to Jackson here, he crosses it in or he decides to take it by himself, you've contributed to us scoring that goal, bro. Same way that you contributed last week against Newcastle, you played the pass before the main pass, you know? And for me, I thought he was poor when he got in dangerous situations. Even towards the end of the game, you know, he got in a dangerous situation where he's trying to dribble past everyone and just shoot. And Neto was literally on the right-hand side doing this, bro. He's doing this, you know? Yeah. So that's something that he's got to cut out because there's times where he can be... Okay, look, I want him to be getting these numbers and that, and I want him to take, you know, shoot as much as he can. But you have to have the right decision-making. You have to know when to do it, and you have to know when to release the ball. And that's, for me, Couch, that's the biggest issue that I had with Palmer, bro. Yes, I agree. He wasn't in the best areas. He wasn't roaming the best areas. I don't want to be seeing him, you know, in the left space, dropping deep and that. We want him further up because he's our best creator, right? But away from that, bro, there was a time when the ball just rolled under his foot. You know what I'm saying? In the second half, he got out jumped. He didn't even try to jump for the ball. And then straight after that action, he in the corner, I don't know if you guys remember, the ball came to him. He like moved out the way to like try to give it to Neto, and it just got intercepted. And straight away, United again were on the attack. And for me, I just looked at it and thought, bro, your attitude stinks today, bro. Your attitude, you're actually pissing me off. Like this was the probably the main game where Palmer's actually pissed me off because of how bad United are. Against Liverpool, they did a very good job on him. I'll be real, United didn't do a job on Palmer, bro. He done a job on himself. You know what I'm saying? He actually done a job on himself, bro.
I mean, in the midst of all that stuff you're talking about, he did win 9 out of the 10 ground duels, which is phenomenal. He also had about 4 dribbles and created 1 chance to score. So as much as I agree with you, yeah, he could have been better in situations. And like I've been saying for a minute now, this game is about moments. You have to seize the moments. You're not going to get a lot of opportunities to open teams, and you got to take them. That's why you were a talismanic figure. But overall, I don't think that he was poor. I think that he had moments where he could have done better, but he still had a decent game for me.
I agree, but I just think, I just think he's a victim of his own success, because now people expect him to do something every single game, and the reality is that's just not possible. And then when he doesn't do that, some people will start to think, oh, Palmer had a crap game today because he didn't do anything. Like, look, he didn't influence the game, but I didn't sort of come away from that and think, oh, Jesus, Palmer was dreadful today. He wasn't dreadful. He just wasn't involved in the game enough. But that's the problem, though. When you do so well and the expectations on you as a player go up, then when you don't have a good game, it's suddenly like, oh, my God, what's happened to Palmer? Palmer's off it. I think if anyone's allowed to have 1 or 2 off days, I think it's Palmer after he's carried us for what? 12 coming up 18 months now in January. He's basically carried this team. He's allowed to have 1 or 2 quiet games. And I think that the more important thing, though, is for obviously Palmer himself, but Maresca and the coaching staff to identify alternative solutions to make Palmer like more involved in a game when he's been marked out of it or whatever. We need to come up with different solutions, because at the moment when Palmer's marked out of a game, i.e. Liverpool, wasn't marked out of this game, but he wasn't having much influence. We need to come up with different solutions to get him more involved in the game. We can't just accept that, if the team's like man marking Palmer or doubling up on him, he's just not going to be effective in this game, and that's that. We need to come up with different solutions. Whether that means put him on the right and you play Nkunku behind Jackson, or you try something different. I think we need to see something where if Palmer's not influencing the game, let's try something a little bit different. We've got the options on the bench. We have got potential solutions there, but we haven't seen them being tried yet.
And before we go into that,
So go ahead.
Before we get into that bit, because you've touched up on a nice bit there, because I want to speak about obviously Maresca's in-game management, but we've got 153 people in the house, 46 likes, people. What's going on, man?
Oh, that's poor.
You know what I mean?
Come on.
What type of conversion rate is that? That's like Chelsea at the weekend, bro. You know what I'm saying? You lot make sure that you smashed up the lights, man. You know what I mean? And keep sharing the video around. We've got a lot of football to watch tonight. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, listen, you make a very good point, Charlie. Yeah, because the in-game management in this game was just poor, bro. It was poor. Like I said, it was a poor performance from the players and Maresca as well. I don't understand why he decided to leave Jackson, Palmer, all these players on. I know I'm seeing a lot of people trying to cook Madueke. You guys not going to talk about Madueke. We're going to get to that. Don't worry. We're going to get to him. Yeah. But before we get into Madueke, for me, like what you're saying there, try different things, bro. Yeah. Bring Nkunku on. Make him play in that half space, because United, for me, away from, they were only looking dangerous on the transition. They weren't really cutting through our midfield. So it wasn't a situation where Nkunku had a lot of ground to cover. It was mainly we lose the ball and they just quickly counter us. That sort of thing. You know what I'm trying to say? Try something different. Be a little bit braver, because I'll be real. United were there for the fucking taking, bro. You know what I'm saying? But Couch, what would you have done in that situation there, man, with Nkunku and obviously Felix on the bench? Palmer, would you have moved Palmer to the right and then put Nkunku down the middle?
Well, I mean, I was trying to like find the best way to balance the squad, right? And what Maresca needs to do in order to keep his balance and his shape and whatnot, and also find the solutions to unlocking teams in the final third. And for me, I just feel like if one guy's not working, and Madueke clearly wasn't working, we've seen this last year. We can easily put Palmer on the right. And he can still be effective there in space. You know what I mean? And then instead of having Gusto occupy that half space, have him overlap on the right. Just play him there. And then have Palmer come in and combine with somebody like Nkunku or Neto. Like that, to me, produces a lot more offensive like thrust than trying to manipulate the ball into Gusto, who's not very good at making decisions in that position. Or you do something like, I don't know, like I still think that Reece James is probably the best player to occupy that half space for us, given what we need balance wise. But if you don't want to have him have all those high intensity runs and whatnot going up and down the pitch, then like I said earlier, maybe what you do is you invert him into the midfield, have a duo of him and Lavia play together in tandem, and you move CAICEDO forward, as an attacking 8, or in the half space there, however you want to categorize it. Maybe that produces something completely different. But this idea of not playing Nkunku right now, when you're looking for a goal, is starting to really wear on me now. It's not making any sense to me whatsoever. Where you need a goal, you haven't seen anything from Jackson all game, and you have a guy like Nkunku sitting on the bench doing nothing. Like that's starting to really irritate me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You have guys on the bench who we played a mint for that you're not bringing into, in fact, like impact games where
I think it might be a lack of trust. I'm not sure if he trusts them guys fully, Couch. Because when you look at that game and you're thinking, even at 1-1, United was still there for the taking. I still had that feeling that, we could there's definitely going to be an opportunity to get a goal here. And as you say, look, Jackson had a poor game. I say poor game. He just there was nothing up to him. He just wasn't really involved at all. Why would you not just put an Nkunku on and try something a little bit different? And all I can think of maybe is that I'm not sure if he fully trusts the likes of Nkunku and the likes of Felix to help us out in a big game.
I don't think he has a choice. To me, I don't think he has a choice at this point to not trust these men. We have to use the squad. Period. These men have quality. You may not feel like they match what your starting or A-level players are gonna give you, but in the course of the game, you don't have an option. You have to change it. Period. You can't say, oh no, I'm not gonna change it, because this is what happens. We end up drawing. From the beginning of the season, I think many people would even consider Nkunku was a guaranteed starter. He ended up not being in the starting lineup. Okay, that's fine.
We started him in the first game. Remember, on the left.
This is what I'm saying. 2-3 months now into the season, you got to figure out a way to get, and I've been saying this, you have to figure out a way to get Jackson, Nkunku, and Palmer on the field at the same time, because these are probably your most impactful attacking players, right? If you don't start like that, then definitely 30 minutes remaining into the game, you have to have these players on the field, right?
Yep.
Then you have Neto. Neto was probably our, best, he probably had our best moments in terms of attacking players against United, He's finally coming into his own, so you have something to work with, clearly. And before Neto wasn't playing, you gave him a run of games. He's proven himself to get into the team, So to me, right now, I wouldn't have put Felix in yesterday. And Nkunku definitely got to touch that field, though. Why is he not touching the field?
I'm not understanding that at all. I'm still struggling with that idea. Like where he's people, and he's coming on at 85th minute to get some garbage time minutes. Is this Nkunku we're talking about? We're still talking about Nkunku, right?
I mean, we've spoke about this before, but I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think there's a high chance he's gone in the summer, because when he joined, he absolutely didn't join on the premise that he was going to be basically a cup player, which is what he is right now. He's a cup player. He's a Thursday night player for us. And as you say, Couch, how many times when he comes on in the league, the only game he started in the league was the first one against City. The majority of his minutes, as you say, he comes on with about 10, 15 minutes left if he's lucky. Normally it's 10 or less minutes left, and that's his minutes in the league. And you're sort of thinking, there's a quality player there, but we're not really sure how to utilize him or to get the most out of him.
It's a domino effect, though, because you've got Madueke, who obviously Maresca really likes. It's very clear that he loves him, right? You've got Palmer, who is our best player, so he doesn't really come off. You know what I'm saying? You've got Jackson, who Maresca really likes. Jackson rarely ever comes off. So the issue that you've got right now is there's 3 positions right now where Nkunku should be playing behind Jackson, right? When he goes up top, for me, he doesn't do enough. And Maresca, for me, clearly doesn't really like him up there, because it's clear to see, bro. He just makes it very easy for the centre backs. Yes, I know if an opportunity falls to anyone, you want it to drop down to Nkunku. That's fair enough. He's the best finisher at the club, I'd probably say, right? Cool, fair enough. But the issue is the all-round game up top isn't there, right? And right now, I'm not seeing Maresca wanting to move Palmer to the right. We've spoken about this a few times, but he hasn't been doing it because it's Madueke that goes
there. The only time he done it was Bournemouth away. Second half, he shifted him out to the right when Nkunku come on. But other than that,
Nkunku played on the right that game. Sorry, Nkunku went up top that game. What game was that?
Yeah. He shifted Palmer to the right. Yeah. That's the only game he's done it this season.
Bournemouth was when Nkunku came on the right, isn't it?
No, because Sancho come on at half time for Neto.
No, Palace. Sorry, I'm thinking of Palace. Yeah.
The Bournemouth game, Sancho come on at half time, and then Palmer went to the right, and then obviously later on Nkunku come on. But the only time Palmer's been shifted to the right was in that Bournemouth game. Yeah,
100%, bro. I need to see Nkunku in his best position down the middle behind Jackson. Right? I keep going back to that preseason, AJ. Yeah. We saw Jackson and Nkunku linking up. Yeah. Take Palmer off if you have to. Palmer hasn't got to play 90 minutes every single game. We've got a big squad.
Play him on the right. Like, what's wrong with playing on the right? I don't understand why that's even not an issue. Like, that's not something we look to. Like, play him on the right. You get the overlap from one of the fullbacks. So, like, Gusto's overlapping in a more natural position for him. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't understand why it's so hard to figure this out. You know what I mean? Like, you need a goal. And Nkunku should be on the pitch. I don't care. And I understand what you're saying, Don, about like him not really threatening the back line when they're playing a high line. But when they're camped out in their half and you're looking for guys to intertwine, like basically like
interchange
in the half spaces and whatnot, Nkunku's perfect in that role.
He is.
Even as a number 9. Like, I want to see interplay with Nkunku in that position.
But even more so when you've sat and watched 60, 70 minutes of Jackson not involved in the game because the ball's just not been getting to him. Like, you could understand a bit more if Jackson was having a really good game, he'd scored twice and he was a threat, but Jackson wasn't a threat in this game. So you sort of sitting and watching that from the bench, there's a chance to win this game still. Why would you not try and put some like an Nkunku on to try something different and offer a different threat to the defenders? I don't really understand it for this game specifically. I think in the wider context, Nkunku basically hasn't been doing enough this season to warrant, getting decent minutes in the league. But
he's being misprofiled though. He's being misprofiled. Yes, that's the main problem.
What are you comparing that to? Because you're comparing that to Jackson. You're only comparing that to Jackson, whereas he's not a like for like replacement for Jackson. He's a like for like replacement for Palmer, or in that same area. Now Palmer has the opportunity to play on the right side, like Couch says. So, it's unfair on Nkunku to be fixed as a striker, and then he's not getting minutes because he's not giving you more than Jackson. Obviously, he's not going to give you what he doesn't do that. So
he's not a striker. He's not a striker.
It's just like Disasi. We're not going to get a right back from Disasi. That's not what.
Do you know what Nkunku's biggest problem is? Right, the biggest problem for Nkunku is that we signed Felix. That's his biggest problem, is that we signed Felix, who we didn't need, and he's barely playing because 1, we didn't really want him in the first place, and 2, he just wasn't needed. He was a pointless signing. That, for me, I think is arguably Nkunku's biggest problem, because Nkunku should be rotating with Palmer for that number 10 spot. But instead, Nkunku's rotating with Jackson for the 9 because Felix and Palmer are going for the 10. So what we should have really done in an ideal situation is
Omorodion.
Yeah, you should have seen that. You should have seen that. You should have done. You should have seen that on Omorodion deal through. You got Jackson and Samu, and then you have Palmer and Nkunku going for that 10. Yep. That's what should have happened. Signing Felix has actually been Nkunku's biggest problem.
No, I think Maresca's his biggest problem, to be honest. I think Maresca's his biggest problem.
I was going to touch on that
as well. If there was no Felix, there would be there would be more opportunity for minutes.
Felix ain't coming off the bench either.
No, he's not.
There's that as well. But just to play devil's advocate, because we've seen obviously Maresca was playing Enzo in the half space. He's now decided to drop Enzo out of the midfield. He's playing Lavia and Caicedo. He's trying this Gusto experiment. It is still early days. We're not even in the new year, right? So all these things, he's looking at it. He's obviously going to be reviewing the games and saying, okay, that's not working. Let me try change things. Because I'll be honest with you, I believe Maresca knows when he's doing something wrong and he tries to amend it. You know what I'm saying? If he consistently tries this thing of, Nkunku up top every single time, giving him 10 minutes, giving him 5 minutes, Gusto in the half space every single time, he's not doing much, it's going to be to his own detriment. Because when we're not winning games, when we're getting knocked out of competitions because of his poor management, people are going to be on his neck. You know how Chelsea fans are, bro. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even want this guy because he's a championship manager. What's he going to do? I know he's had a good start, but you're at Chelsea, bro. Yeah, you're managing in the Prem right now. You get paid a lot of money to make good decisions, bro. Yeah, and right now for me, it is not a good decision to keep playing Nkuku up top. I need to see him getting on the ball more, bro. Yeah, how about we start introducing Gil a lot more? I know Gil hasn't looked great so far, but he's the sort of profile I want to be seeing up top. At least he can be a little bit of a menace up top. Nkuku, he's just not that, bro. Yeah, you don't want him to just be getting little touches, trying to run off man and that. No, bro. You want him getting on the ball, trying to make things happen constantly. That's what you want from Nkuku, you know? And I'm not seeing that from him. I'm not seeing it because the manager isn't playing him in his best role. That's the issue that you've got right now. Do you know what I'm saying? But let's move on to Nkuku. Let's move on to Nkuku. Sorry, not Nkuku. Sorry, Madueke, because a lot of people are at me saying, "Don this, don that." Let me just get this straight, people. Right? I've told you lot 1,000,001 times. I like Madueke because he's direct, right? But I keep saying he is not a guaranteed starter for me. So when you lot are at me talk about your boy Madueke and that, you lot are going on like I'm trying to force him into the team, bro. He's a squad player at best right now. Yeah, he's not guaranteed to start for me. And if he's not playing well, like I said a few weeks ago, it's time to start Neto. That's how I see it. If you come to me and tell me, oh, well, he's defending quite well, that's not enough for me, bro. As an attacker, I don't want to be hearing you telling me about his defensive abilities first. I want to be hearing you telling me, yeah, well, he takes on his man, he can beat his man, he scores goals, he creates for others. That's what I want to be hearing. I don't want to be hearing, well, he hasn't been great, but he defends well. I don't be hearing that shit, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? But end of the day, listen, he had a good game against Forest, in my opinion. He scored, helped us not lose that day. He hasn't been, as good as what he was that day. He scored a hat-trick, people. You know what I'm saying? He's still improving. Like, Madueke is not the finished article, But end of the day, the other day, I'll be honest with you, he was locked up by Mazwari, but you got to give credit to the defender because he did a very good job on him. And at the same time, I just didn't like that connection that he had with Gusto. Him and Gusto do not have a good relationship, in my opinion. It's not great. You see the difference when he plays with Palmer. He gets the ball a lot more. He likes to take on his man a lot more. But you have to be real. Mazwari locked him up. It's as simple as that, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I mean, Mazraoui had a great game. He had a strong game. He was one of United's best players, but I do think a lot of Madueke's downfall that game was on himself because he did get into many, and I just watched the game back like 2 hours ago. So, I literally just saw this. Madueke had about 4 or 5 situations where he received the ball on the corner of the 18-yard box that we're attacking, and it was either Gusto making a overlapping run or somebody making an overlapping run, and he can either play that ball through for them to cut it back, or he can try to beat his man and cut it back himself. Many of the times where he tried to beat his man, he keeps hitting his man with the cutback, and that is a problem. You have the skill to beat your man or to just create a yard to get the cutback across goal. He keeps hitting his first man, and I think he needs to work on just the because he has more time than he thinks, in these situations, and he just needs to work on the composure. But we never said that Madueke was the finished article, and that's the problem with the fan base. You're expecting him to be the finished article. I mean, he brings a certain skill set that many of our other players do not bring. And that's why he's in the team. And clearly the manager values the skill set as well, right? So just stop going in on Madueke. Oh, talk about Madueke. We know he hasn't been his greatest, but who has been there at their greatest, really, besides Cole Palmer? Who?
But talking of cutbacks, like there is one player that don't really play that much who's got the cutback, locks down. The amount of times, right? Honestly, if people were more alert in the box, or we had more quality in the box, Mudrik's assists, by the way, the amount of times in recent games you see him do a cutback across goal, there's either no one there or they just totally mess it up. Like we have got someone who does get behind his fullback and does do the cutback into the box, but 9 times out of 10 he gets let down by the finishing from those cutbacks. Like we have got cutbacks on potentially both sides, but you are right. Realistically, the wingers haven't been bad this season, but Madueke. I like Madueke, but his performances have not been great over the last few games. And then you look at someone like Neto, who's starting to pick up form now. Mudryk has improved in his recent outings. And then you've got someone like Sancho, who now hasn't even played since the Liverpool game. I know he was ill for for the Newcastle in the Cup, and then he obviously wasn't available due to his loan for this one. But, you know, I think we were all of us were probably, I mean, fans guilty of sort of like getting on the Sancho hype train when he done 3 assists in 4 games. But the reality is now is that for the last 3 games that he was available for, he was subbed at halftime against Liverpool, and then he was an unused sub against Newcastle in the league. Didn't play against Panathinaikos. He was an unused sub in the Conference League. And you know, you're looking at it now and you're thinking, maybe Sancho's place in the team isn't that secure. And you're suddenly thinking maybe he's now actually 4th choice winger all of a sudden when he was 1st choice only a few weeks back.
I wouldn't even say he was 1st choice though, Charlie, because with Sancho, he is more of a facilitator than he is like a gunman. You know what I'm saying? And he's more to, you know, create, help keep the ball. So he's definitely a good player to have. He's an important player to have in the squad, but I don't guarantee him to start every single game, bro. You know, certain games you might want a Madueke on the right and a Neto on the left, or Mudryk on the left with Neto on the right, someone a little bit more direct. Because for me, looking back at it in hindsight now, Sancho shouldn't have started against Liverpool. He should have started Neto that game. Yeah. Right? And Neto loves playing at Anfield, bro. Every time he goes Anfield, he has a very good game. Last time he went Anfield for Wolves on the left, I'm pretty sure he scored as well, or got an assist or something. He ripped up Joe Gomez that game, bro. You know what I'm saying? So Sancho, yes, he was starting at the start of the season, but for me, I didn't look at that and think, oh yeah, that's now his position. I was still looking at it and thinking, okay, cool. It all depends on, you know, who we're playing, what sort of setup we're trying to go with, and that sort of thing. So he's still going to be helpful, man. Look what happened against Bournemouth. He didn't start against Bournemouth. He comes on, he helps change the game. He ain't got to start every single game, bro. And same thing as Neto. Neto ain't got to start every single game. We've got a big squad, people. Pep does this all the time. Yeah, Pep doesn't have a defined 11 more time. He changes things a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say that we just got to give this more time, because it's not really. We haven't really played a lot of matches under this manager with this squad yet, and I feel like if you start chopping and changing, you lose the players quite quickly. You know, like confidence starts to dip and whatnot. So like you have to give these guys a run of games to get, you know, find their form and whatnot. And maybe that's part of the reason why he's not really shifted Madueke. He's a confidence guy, obviously, but I don't know. Like at this point in time, like we're 10 games in now in the season. You know, that's probably about a quarter of the way through. Yeah. You know, it's at this point in time where I expect Maresca to start like looking at, you know, different solutions to impact the game. You know, and it's just not. He's not doing enough for me right now, to be honest, because I hate seeing guys who I feel could impact the game if given the opportunity, not get minutes at all, you know, in favor of guys that are completely out of form. You know, Madueke is completely out of form right now. He's not given us anything in any of the games that he's played the last 2 or 3 games easily. And probably even more, to be honest. Like he's probably had more than a few games now where he's been subpar. And, you know, at some point the manager's got to be like, yes, man, okay, cool. We've given this guy a run of games. We have to give somebody else another opportunity. If they don't take that opportunity, that's one thing. Maybe you probably have to reassess that afterwards. But they have to be given the opportunity at this point in time. You know, like utilize a squad.
I wouldn't mind seeing something different this weekend. I mean, forget Thursday night. We know there's going to be 11 changes, whatever. But I think the time could be right for the Sunday game against Arsenal to try a different combination of wingers. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing a Mudryk down the left and a Neto down the right. You know, I think that Madueke has been great and he will be good for us and he will contribute over the course of the season. But maybe it is time for him to sit on the bench and someone else to be given a chance and try a different combination. I think maybe a Mudryk Neto could work quite well.
Mudryk needs to start to get a look in now, man, because like you're saying, Charlie, like when he came on the other day, he brought a different dynamic on that side. You know, he was trying to actually create some chances. I thought his crossing wasn't that great, in all honesty. But one thing about Mudryk, he's going to create at least 2-3 cutbacks in one game. That's just
there were loads in the cup game against Newcastle, and I think Nkunku and one of them just took a horrendous touch, and a couple of the other ones, they were just no one ran to attack the ball.
Yeah, he's got a very good weight of pass, and even the other day, like Palmer was whipping in some good crosses. Jackson's movement in the box wasn't great. I know he's improving, but you know, overall the attack just was a bit blunt. But I want to speak about, you know, someone right now who is clearly performing. You know, I'm saying our best player on the day. you know, Moises Caicedo. This is a player who came in last year, had an absolutely horrendous debut against West Ham. You know what I mean? Gives away a penalty, you know, slow start to the season, didn't have a preseason. You know, we were going back and forth with Brighton, ended up overpaying for this guy. We thought he was going to go Liverpool. It's been a bit of a whirlwind, you know what I'm saying? And for me, he's been performing for, not to this level, but he started to perform quite well from probably November, December time last year. But obviously, because we weren't picking up that many results, people are looking at it and saying, oh, Caicedo's shit, Caicedo's this and that. Bro, if you watch our games, this guy's playing in Poch's Island. He's playing by himself and he's helping keep us together. This myth that Gallagher's our best midfielder, for me, was just a myth, bro. Because if it wasn't Caicedo, if Caicedo was not in our midfield, we would have been in an absolute shit show, bro. Would have conceded more than 80 goals if it wasn't for him last year, you know? But this year, bro, I'm seeing someone has actually gone up a level. You know, he's looking more like a box-to-box, what I expected him to be long-term, you know, in terms of how he's creating chances for us, how he's winning the ball back, you know. His dribbling in the midfield has been very tidy. There was one bit where he got the ball, he ran past about 3 players, bro. You know, switched it across to Neto. You know, yeah. He's been very, very good, man. But AJ, what did you think of Caicedo's performance? And for me, listen, I already said before, this whole Declan Rice thing, don't even put Rice next to Caicedo, bro. They're not the same. You know what I mean? They're not the same, bro. He's clear of that guy.
Listen, Caicedo has clearly separated himself from, first of all, the players in our squad in the midfield. He separated himself. He's clearly the best midfielder we have. And then in the league, he separated himself as well. You know, it's undeniable, at least right now, you know, that he's the number 1 midfielder. You know, so he's providing us with that steal. He's providing us with energy. He's scoring big goals. Like, I didn't even think we would score in that United game after Bruno scored that penalty. That goal that Caicedo scored was, we're lucky. Let's say that. We're lucky that Caicedo did that because we weren't scoring in that game, you know, and look at what he does. So, you know, thank you to Caicedo for that. So he's doing everything. He's providing assists. In the Liverpool game, he played that ball to Jackson for the assist. So he's doing all of these things, you know. We need somebody to match his energy. That's the problem that we don't have. That we have, I mean. Nobody in our team is really matching that energy in the midfield.
I wouldn't say that.
I'd say that. Lavia came into the game. Lavia's game this weekend showed that, you know, we're still looking for a solution in the midfield, right? That's what we still have a midfield issue because the passing in the midfield is not strong enough for the forward passing. Let me make it clear. The forward passing is not strong enough when Enzo is not on the field. And look at the tweaks that the coach has to make to try and compensate for that. You understand? I think that's
where I don't necessarily believe those tweaks are necessary, but yeah. I think Lavia is better at passing the ball than people give him credit for. You know, like,
I didn't say that he's bad. I didn't say
I'm just saying, like, I don't think that we're lacking in that. He didn't have a great game against United.
No, he didn't. But the way Lavia breaks lines,
he was okay in the first half. He was okay.
First half, he was all right.
He was all right, but he wasn't like influential in our build-up phase, right? And that's what we're talking about. But as far as Caicedo goes, yeah, he's 115 million pounds. He should be, you know, performing at that level. The thing that I have a problem with, and what was the issue last year, which is less of an issue now, is he's just less rash when he's going in for challenges. Like, there would be times where he'd just be late and like missing tackles and like getting yellow cards and this, that, and the other. He's not doing that this year. He's pretty clean when he's going in to win the ball. That's the most noticeable difference. I don't think that we had any problem with Caicedo in possession last year. Thought he was very good passer of the ball, very good on the ball in general. His switches are incredible. The one-touch switches like that go like 80 or 90-degree passes, like just to play it into space and whatnot. Like, he's always been incredible that way. It's just when we were asking him to be that defensive stalwart in the middle of the pitch, he was just a little bit too rash, you know, and now the game has slowed down a bit for him now, and he's making the right plays, making the right decisions, and he's winning tackles cleanly now. So, yeah, that's the biggest difference for me. I don't think that we've seen anything outside of that with him on the ball that is surprising. I think that he's very much what he was last year.
No, 100, bro, 100. I think for me, a lot of the tackling last year, you got to charge it to how much space is in, man. You know what I'm saying? If you're literally in the first phase and you're looking around you and there's no one there to help, you're gonna start panicking. You know what I mean? You're gonna make some rash challenges, AJ. Do you know what I'm saying?
I agree. He was left on the island, like you said last season. You know, our midfield was always wide open. Yep. We have a more compact setup this season, and it's clearly helped him.
110%, man. But listen, let's finish off by doing like a little mini preview of the Arsenal game, man. Because listen, we need a fucking bounce back from the performance that we just saw the other day, innit? Because we're back at home now, familiar settings. You know, we're playing against Arsenal, who right now we could ultimately put the nail in the coffin for them. If Liverpool win this weekend, Man City win this weekend, a lot of these Arsenal fans are saying, "Yo, we're completely out of the title race." And for me, I don't really give a fuck about all of that. I care more about us climbing in the table and getting into top 4. But if we can do that whilst also making sure that these lot don't win the league, I'm here for it, bro. Yeah, we've got mistakes to make up for. Charlie Sanchez has got a fucking mistake to make up for from last year and just from the weekend that went. Right, we need to fucking beat these lot. They just battered us 5-0 away. We had all these injuries. They didn't give a fuck. We had no Gusto that day, no Palmer that day. Played fucking Alfie Gilchrist at right back. You know, Disasi, Badiashile. It was shocking manager, shocking lineup. We've actually got a good team now, right? Hopefully Palmer's going to be fit for the game because I saw he had a scan and whatnot. I think that's more precautionary. But bro, we need to make sure we win that game at the weekend, man.
No, 100%, bro. I remember we done a video on my channel, right, but before, like during the last international break, and we were chatting about, you know, how many points we thought would be acceptable from the next 4, which is obviously Newcastle, which was Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United, and Arsenal. And we said about 8 or 9 points. Right now, we're on 5 from them 3. Lost at Liverpool, beat Newcastle, and a win and a draw with Man United. So we're on 4 points right now. 4 points, right now. Mm-hmm. So the most we can get from this run is 7 from 12. I think I don't want to say this is a must-win game, but it almost feels like it kind of is because. You know, we should really would have taken maybe 8 or 9 points from this run. So we're on 4 right now. You need to win this game, and it would be a statement as well. We're still waiting for a statement win this season. You know, we didn't get the statement win at Anfield. We didn't get the statement win that we were looking for at Old Trafford. And whilst we've played well and beaten some half decent sides, we're waiting for the statement win. And Arsenal would be a statement win for us at Stamford Bridge to give us a real feel-good factor heading into the international break. So for me, it kind of is a must-win game. They're definitely there for the taking. We've got the quality to beat them. But again, it just depends sort of whether we kind of turn up or not.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%. It's games like this that you look to see if you've turned the corner and become like a squad that is a force to be reckoned with, right? I mean, ultimately, these are the top. We've encountered some of the top teams the last couple of weeks, and haven't really been poor. We just haven't really been, you know, as dangerous as we've looked in other games. And so this, for me, is an opportunity to return ourselves to a position where teams are going to be thinking about Chelsea differently again, right? Like we've kind of fallen off the boil a bit with that, and it's an opportunity now to get back into that conversation where people are like, well, yeah, we got to really reckon with this team right now, you know. And that to me just comes down to the mentality coming out of the game with the right intentions, you know, and not thinking about, you know, I think it was a lot of times Maresca the last little while has been thinking about more about what the opponent is going to do rather than thinking about what we can do to them. And you know, I really want him to be more of, okay, this is how we can hurt this team. This is what we can do to hurt this team, rather than thinking about, you know, okay, well, we have to be more, you know, pragmatic and hold our shape a little bit more because we have to be worried about what they can do to us. I think this is the game where we have to show where our tracking intent is, because as we know, Arsenal pride themselves on being a defensive team now. Unbeknownst to them, they pride themselves on being defensively sound now. So we have to show that we can attack teams like that and you know, put them to the sword. So I'm looking for that. Go ahead, John.
Sorry, mate. I was just going to say, I think the only thing that's going to be of concern, and I know their set piece threat has maybe not been as big in the last couple of games, but our set piece defending is poor. There's no mistake. Let's make no mistakes about it.
I don't even think it's an X's and O's thing. I think it's just we don't have enough guys that can attack the ball.
Yeah, but I mean, exactly. So I think if we're not switched on in the box, or if we're giving away like set pieces, whether it's corners, free kicks, whatever it might be, if we're not careful, we could be in big trouble. And like you could easily, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you could see a situation where we find ourselves, we could easily concede a couple of goals from set pieces very, very easily in this game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah, go on again.
You know what's crazy is our set piece defending is so poor, but our set piece attacking is poor as well. Super poor, terrible. Especially on corners. Like, it's disgusting. Have we even scored a goal on a corner this whole season? You know,
I think one. Was it Jackson at Wolves?
Oh, that's right. Our center back scored a header. You know, we're not getting.
We don't have anyone attacking the ball. Like, let's just be real. We don't have like elite ball attackers. Like, we don't.
It's so annoying to watch too.
To me, the best leaper we have in the club right now is Fofana, and he's got like one leg.
Yeah,
like, really?
Real talk.
The ball doesn't really fucking get to him in the box either, man. Like our crosses have just been good.
The takers are poor at it as well. You know,
that's probably why they go short so often, because they actually can't get it a decent ball into the box from the corner. And maybe that's always going short. But I know it's early days, right? But I'm yet to really see any evidence that we've got any decent value out of this set piece coach yet, because I'm not really seeing anything that's different from last season in terms of our set pieces.
Well, we're not conceding as many.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but we haven't conceded as many this season. But I mean, from an attacking,
we're not conceding many from set pieces for sure.
From an attacking perspective, though, it's poor.
The attacking is a problem. But again, you attack set pieces when you have aerial threats. Like, we don't have any, man. Like,
but
look at Arsenal. Like, Gabriel, like that guy, he's a beast. You know, you look at Arsenal.
You could get creative with it. Then you could get creative with it.
Yeah, but creative what? Like, what are you going to do? Like,
you know, there's many set piece situations that you can work on in training. You know, we don't have the tallest player, so maybe we need to attack the near post, or maybe we need to create some diversion and get a cutback. We need to do something.
Like what Bournemouth did against Arsenal, bro. Their setup was good for that goal, AJ. AJ's spitting facts, man, because I'll be real, like we put it in the cross. If we put it in the cross, we put it in the box, and every time we get a corner, I just don't feel like we're gonna score. Like, we've got rid of the guy that used to score all our headers in the box in Thiago Silva. Fofana's the next best option, but even him, the ball just doesn't seem to be getting to him because the crosses have not been good enough, you know. I'm seeing a few people saying about Gabriel saying here Palmer's 3 weeks. I'm not seeing anything here from.
No, it's not true, mate. That's trolling. Yeah,
that's fake news, isn't it? I personally don't think he's gonna be out, and this ain't really hopium. Just looking at that challenge, it didn't look like a terrible challenge. It looked more like one of them painful ones where you just kind of it's sore in it.
Yeah, for a few days. The impact.
I mean, people were going on about him. Oh, he wasn't pictured in training today. Well, it's like, well, that doesn't really matter because he's not playing on Thursday anyway. So there's no need to get him out on the pitch.
Yeah, 110%. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And for me, the main thing really is the mentality, man. And Maresca, he's got to get his spot on, man, because he fucked up against Man City with the lineup that he put out. He gave them too much respect. Against Liverpool, I think things could have been done differently from the players and him. And again, against United, both the players and him take blame, bro. So now we actually need to start fucking winning against these top 6 sides, top 4 sides. I'm tired of it, bro. You know what I mean? We've failed our test 3 times now this season. It's not good enough. I know it's still early doors and that. Time, you know, we'll get better as time goes on. But listen, like I keep saying this season, I smell blood. Yeah, and Arsenal right now are very vulnerable. Yeah, very, very vulnerable. We can't be losing to this Arsenal side right now. I'm sorry. If they score a set piece, cool. Cool. But guess what? We need to outscore them. So the set piece don't matter. They're not going to score 3 set pieces against us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Beat them 3-1. Beat them 3-2. Yeah? You know what I mean? We're not. I can't lie, boys. We're not really conceding many set pieces like that this year.
We're
not really. No.
We're defending them quite well. It's just we're not scoring them. That's the issue. Yeah. So there has been a change in how we're defending them. It's just we're not scoring them at the same time, you know. But listen, good chat, man. That flew by. Go on, AJ.
No, just the Arsenal thing, you know, because a lot of the fan base, you'll hear Don saying, because Don, you're on all these channels, so everybody knows you. They'll hear you saying, "Oh, you know, we gotta beat Arsenal," and they're like, "Oh, why you have so much trust?" It's because we see with our eyes that Arsenal is not as strong as they were last year or the year before. also the table shows it as well. Same thing with Manchester United. You know, we going into these games saying that because of the evidence of the games that these teams have played, you know, and on top of that, all season we're saying, oh, look at us, we're improving, we're scoring goals, our attack is better, this, that, and the third. But when we get to the big games, that's when you really get the respect, when you win those games and put those teams to the sword. You know,
and those types of monumental wins you get when you have an experienced team, when you have a team that's been through the wars. And we have the youngest team in the Prem. Still, we're still trying to find our way.
Facts. But bro, it will give the team a lot of confidence, man. Because if we beat Arsenal, right, and for example, Spurs win their game, they drop so far down the table. Yeah, have some pride, bro. Yeah. We hate these fuckers. Yeah. We hate them and they hate us, right?
Yeah, they've beaten us quite a few times recently as well at Stamford Bridge. I know last season was a draw, but I think the previous two before that, they beat us both. I don't think we've beaten them at Stamford Bridge for at least 3 seasons.
Yep.
We haven't, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like during that time, it's one them nothing. Apart from when they beat us in the final, the FA Cup and that, it's one them nothing. All those wins at Stamford Bridge, but it's just irritating because you already know how they talk. They yap. We just need to make sure that we beat these lot. Yeah, I know we're above them right now, but we need to pick up our 3 points. You know, because this weekend we had a perfect opportunity to be third, right behind Man City. You know, not far from Liverpool. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I still want to be in touch and distance in January so we can go again. Maybe bring in a centre back. You know, maybe bring in a striker at that point. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? So we need to make sure that we fucking win that game, innit? I don't want anyone to be scared of Arsenal. Keep telling Couch, I've been watching these man this season, and I'm not surprised that they're now dropping points. Zero wins in their past 3 games has been way overdue, Couch. You know, because I've been watching them, and they've been getting away with murder on some of these games. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, listen, we've still got 158 people in here. Let's go watch the football, man. But before we finish up, Couch, let them know where they can find you, man. Love for hopping on.
Yeah, tell Redneck to just settle down over there. This ain't a man bun, man. This is some Rasta dreads, some proper dreads. See? And yeah, you already know what it is. It's here on YouTube. It's Couch Critic. No match review from this United game, so this is my match review. Just didn't have the time. I was all over the place this weekend. So yeah, I look forward to the next one though. But thanks for having me on, Don, and we'll do this again.
Yeah, definitely, man. AJ, love for hopping on, man. Let me know
yes,
they can find you, bro.
Big up everybody. Subscribe to Don, like the channel, you know, grow the channel. And you just find me on TikTok, NYC Chelsea Blues. Follow me there.
Oh, where's my man gone? This guy just fucked up the template.
No, he's just gone, mate.
He just dipped out. Charlie, love for hopping on every time, man.
Nah, pleasure, bro. Always great to come on. Yeah, mate, you can just literally find me, Blue Brother CFC, as it is on screen there. Yeah, loads of stuff coming up, Arsenal game, all that sort of thing. So yeah, you've liked what I'm about to say, then hop over and subscribe and help me out. Yeah,
100%. And people, you're definitely going to see a preview of this channel this week. Sorry, definitely going to get Dan Potts on there. I'm going to try to do a 2v2 again. You know what I'm saying? Last week we had Staffy and Saeed. This week I'll get Potts and maybe Lee Gunner. You know, let me think about what Arsenal fan I wanna get on people. You know what I'm saying? But as always, subscribe to the channel, up the fucking Chels, and let's fucking do these gooners, man. Let's fucking do them.